No man in the world. No man in the world.
The measure of any society is how it treats its women and girls. It's women and girls.
We create
the smart, powerful, creative, accomplished young women.
We can fight.
I'm here because of you. I'm here because girls like you inspire me. Many of these girls have faced unthinkable obstacles just to attend school.
Buckle up, buttercups. It's a brand new year on Surly Voices on WMNF Tampa 88.5. My name is Liz. I'm one of your hosts. One of my co-hosts, Miss Donna, is up in NYC because she can't stay away from it.
All right.
How are you, Donna?
I'm back. I came back.
Oh, you're back in town. Okay.
I'm back.
Wait, when did you fly back? Because you didn't
Last
stay.
night.
You didn't stay to see the ball dropping?
I did not. I did that already.
Okay.
I did that already. So what happened was there was no plan to do this. What happened was I was about $500 spend short of retaining my status.
Gotcha.
So I had to take a trip. So I stared at my phone for a week. And then it occurred to me that I wasn't ready to let go of my lounge access. Wasn't ready. This is the wrong year for that, right? Because I'll hurt somebody. And if you hurt someone at an airport, you're going to get on the no-fly list.
Right.
I figured that, the little bit of the spend was worth the trip. And so I got to kind of be in New York City. I was actually in Times Square. They were putting up the barricades and people were already, drinking. And there was this recording on the train. Please note, drinking will not be allowed on the train from 12 p.m. until 2 a.m. So literally the visual for that was actual people drinking. On the train. and they knew that on the Long Island Railroad, because I came from the airport, they serve alcohol in the airport. And they always have. I mean, in the train station, and they always have. And people were buying their wine and getting on the train and drinking it on the train, and it was afternoon. So New York.
So you had like a Trading Places train kind of moment, yeah.
Yeah, and what's this guy's name? Zoran Mamdani was sworn in last night.
Yes.
But, we've got a lot of stuff to cover today, our year in review. So listen, you guys, grab your notebooks, your lip gloss. I got mine on this morning, mostly because I stopped drinking. So I was able to get up and pull my life together. And your rage management tools. It is the year in review, the annual recap of what we survived, what we built, and who tried it this year. Okay?
There was a lot of people trying it, so.
Yeah, this year we watched powerful men do the thing where they fail upward.
Yes.
And then ask women to be civil about it.
Right.
We watched the same old playbook. Defund schools, police uteruses, underpay caregivers, and call it family values. Meanwhile, women did what we always do. We kept the whole system. We do this, y'all. We kept the whole system from falling into a single hole. We organized, we unioned, we ran for office. A lot of us ran for office, or running for office. We filled mutual aid fridges. We held the line at the clinic, and we turned group chats into field ops. Yes, we did. And let's talk about the modern feminist miracle, the Auntie Network. Okay? 1,000 quiet acts of resistance, rides, childcare swaps, rental help, court support, I'm coming with you and no, you're not crazy brigade. And let's talk about the how they tried to gaslight us with the women are too emotional for power nonsense this year.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well,
while the loudest dudes in the room had public meltdowns over pronouns, pop stars, and the concept of consent. So while women were saving the world, men were worrying about what people have in their pants. Mm-hmm. I just want you to sit with that. Oh, and robbing the treasury in all likelihood, making sure that Gen X, the middle part of Gen X and the bottom part of Gen X doesn't have Social Security.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. So feminism is not a vibe, right? And that's what our show is rooted in, right? It's the infrastructure. As a matter of fact, I think that coming up for this year, it's going to be the infrastructure that holds us together. Okay? Without women standing up and saying, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. Without that, we die on the vine. So I posted a picture of the Hunger Games yesterday. You know, may the odds ever be in your favor, because this year we're going to see. So we're not going to take ourselves off the hook. I think a lot of women hurt each other. I think that oppressed peoples tend to do that, right? I think that this year will be no different, but it's going to be very important that sisters who can pull themselves away from that tendency and bind themselves together with members of their community. I don't think the men are going to do it.
No, of course the men aren't going to do it.
Right. So that's why. So cheers to the women who got louder, sharper, and more strategic. And to the folks who tried to take us backwards, thank you for the motivation.
Yes.
You made a whole generation. I think Gen X and finally millennial women. Millennial women have stood up for themselves, but I don't think they have considered themselves a cohort with all women. I think that has to do with the media separating Gen X women from millennial women, and then putting us into the same category as boomers, because like Shahid Bolson says, they want you to start over every generation. Mm-hmm. So all of the boss biatches in Gen X could be hooking up with all of these young bosses Gen X isn't old, so younger bosses in the millennials, especially those in their 40s, right? I don't want to discount women who are doing the thing in their 20s and 30s, but women in their 40s who've had children, who get that men are never going to be what we need them to be in order for the world to change.
Right.
Not in our generations. That ship sailed when these guys were in their 20s. So that's what we got. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And then, we have to remember and forgive ourselves, because I know there's going to be a lot of grim retrospectives on 2025. But remember, you guys, we raised our voices. We moved votes. And no, we didn't get our girl last year. But, we moved mountains, and that's a reason to smile. Yeah.
You have to celebrate the little victories along the way. Otherwise, you would just, fall into a hole and expire.
Yeah. So what we're going to do this year, we're going to organize, mobilize, legislate, and repeat. Okay?
All right. So if you want to join the conversation, you can give us a call, 813-239-9663, or you can email to dj@wmnf.org. So, where do we start in the recap? Because there's so much to recap.
Well, let's start with the ACA.
Okay.
So you guys know that December 19th, we had a vote. That vote did not include a conversation about the ACA. So those subsidies expired. There will be we're now set up for we must have the conversation, because we have enough people who want to have the conversation. Mike Johnson said he wanted the time. I told you this last week. He wanted that time to basically do his, I can't say that word on the radio. It starts with an F and it ends with a re. So he wanted to do that. And y'all can't get me because Re's not a letter. So I didn't smell it. And he wanted the time. He said this out loud with his voice, his own voice. He wanted time to defeat the measure. The marketplace is still open. What changed overnight is that the subsidies that we put in place during COVID to make health insurance more accessible to more Americans, which caused it to rise to an unprecedented number of people who are on the ACA. In Florida, that number is 7 million. Now, remember, there are only 20 million people in Florida. Wow. So a full third of Floridians are on the healthcare, are on the ACA. Now, why are they on the ACA? Because we don't have the Medicaid expansion. That means that you have to make less money to qualify for Medicaid. So it's not expanded into poor families. It's only families who are meeting that 300% of the federal poverty level, blah, blah, blah. So right now, the average increase for an ACA premium is 114%. Okay. Now, the context of that, because we talked about money a week ago, and a guy called in and he was like, yeah, you guys are talking about that. Of course he did. That there's just there's no evidence for that. Bro, first of all, Tampa, Florida, worst foreclosure thing in the country. Remember a few years ago in COVID, what's this guy's name? Ron DeSantis said that, he said that Florida was going to be the future. You know, it was going to be the future. And all these people were moving here, and he was so proud of the numbers. And these people came down here, and they found out, they FOFA'd, and they found out about hurricanes, flood insurance. They found out about all of the ways, depressed wages, right? If the United States hasn't had a wage increase since the 70s, Florida hasn't had one since the 60s. Right, it's worse. Yeah,
they call it the sunshine bonus or the sunshine tax or something like that. Yeah, you get to make less, but you got all this sun.
Yeah, so you come down here for tax breaks, and then you find out that you can't make any money.
Right.
And then there's no nightlife because it's not really the 21st century here. It's stuck in another decade. It's really the 80s. Mm-hmm. And so people come down here thinking that they're going to have fun in the sun, and then they realize there's no real culture for some reason in Florida. There's we don't have like peanuts and Coca-Cola, you know what I'm saying, and farms and clay and stuff. We just got sun.
And alligators.
And alligators. And a lot of really weird news that seems to make it all the way around the world.
Florida man. Every day Florida man does something.
Every time. I mean, it's just like a whole, we're a byword, right? Like we're mean. So people come down here and they think they're going to get the goods. They see all of the videos. They Disney World. They have an amazing, heart-fluttering experience in Orlando, and then they move down here. It's like moving to New Orleans, and then it gets real.
Yes.
Not enchanted anymore, right? So Florida being the center of the crisis, the foreclosure crisis, and Tampa being the epicenter of the entire nation is where we are. So that's some stuff substantial. That's not hyperbole. That's substantial, real information. The other indicator is that it took Florida longer. These are facts. It took Florida longer to recover from the recession. And I don't believe that it actually took longer. What I believe is, if you look at the data, Florida is a perfect snapshot of the population of the United States. And so when they're spending on the federal level, they're not as sophisticated at the state level to put that spin on the data. And so it comes out raw and people can actually see what's happening. So when you look at Tampa, you're actually seeing a snapshot. And I've said this many times before on the show, you're actually seeing a snapshot of the rest of the country. And so it's just that the spin is as effective on this data as it is at the federal level. So these people don't have the talent to hide how bad it is. What does that mean for people in Florida? I wanted to do a money show, but since it's New Year's Day and we fell on New Year's Day, we can go back and do our money show because I haven't actually done the research. And it took less time to do research for the year in review. Excuse me. So we're up against right now, coming into the new year, and then I'll stop there. We are facing political chaos. We are facing economic chaos. I was at H&M in Times Square yesterday, and I purchased a jacket and a pair of pants for $150. So when I was in Philly this past July, I purchased two shirts, a dress, and a pair of pants, denim, for $90.
Wow.
Okay, so that's the Donna's H&M index. And this is a fast fashion, right? Which I said I wasn't going to do this year, so I did it on December 31st. So I won't take it into the new year. I'm not doing fast fashion this year. Tariffs, and it hurts people, so I'm just not going to be doing it. So once I researched it and found out about it, I said I'm going to stop because there are a lot of people getting hurt in this thing, and it's not good for the economy either. But so there's that, the inflation. No one's really talking about price at the pump. Price at the pump is holding. It's going to spiral out this summer, I'm sure. Remember I said that. Groceries. Like, people don't even complain about it anymore. It's so unreal. And it's completely unnecessary because literally the cost of food has not, manufacturing, processing, transporting food has not gone, growing has not gone up by 60%.
I have turned semi-vegetarian because it's like, who can afford $30 for a roast, you know?
I just kind of went off the rails and I was like, okay, I'm having the Feast of 12 fish, 13 fishes, and I'm having New Year's, and I'm having this, and I'm going there. What I didn't do was restaurants for this year. I didn't do anything with restaurants. I did not purchase any drinks at a bar or anything like that for $20. Just not going to be able to do that this year. And even though I think some of us kind of float above the pinch, and I say that cautiously and humbly, I am changing, and I suggest this far and wide. I don't have to be a rocket scientist. It's not you're getting like the scoop, right? But this year, if you've got subscriptions, if you have gym memberships that you're not using, now is the time to offload that stuff. If you've got a Sundance membership and you're not using it, you've got a Massage Envy subscriptions like I do, and you have like 30 certificates because they've been charging you since 2018, get rid of that stuff. You're going to wish you had that money. Like, those people are going to wish they had that gunpowder they were using last night later on this year.
Oh, my gosh. Why do we have to have explosives to celebrate?
Because that's the kind of place we are. So the juxtapositioning was this. On my television, they were playing It's a Wonderful World. Like, we're a peace-loving nation. And outside, people were using gunpowder to make explosions. The dog ran around, knocked the Prosecco off the table, then screamed because it was so frightening for him, ran into the back, came charging back in there, and immediately started licking the Prosecco up on the floor. I'm running to get a towel. We're fighting for our lives. Like, this is all happening just minutes before this game. Or minutes after, I was still no. He licks and starts licking it up. So we're trying to get him to come away, but it must have been good to him. So he would just go around to the other side and get some off the side. Then started walking around like he didn't know where he was. So that's how my new year started. So I'm cautioning
dog.
I'm cautioning everyone. Get rid of the subscriptions and tighten it up, because I don't think that this was going to be a fun one. I also want to disabuse you of the notion as a Politico, right, of many years, that we're going to somehow unravel this mess that we've gotten ourselves into and walk out of it like we do anytime there's a blue wave at the end of the year, on a midterm or presidential year. This is going to be a little bit different. They basically took the box of toys that is our government, turned it upside down, and dumped everything out into the sand, right? So now there's not only are things in disarray, but they're also a little dirty. Mm-hmm. And they're going to need to be washed and dried and resorted and fixed. And it's going to take probably a generation. And last thing, we don't actually know what Musk did when he broke into the Treasury and got all of our data. I know,
he canceled a bunch of Acrobat subscriptions, so that's how we know what's in the Epstein files.
Right. I love that for them. Because I was just like, earlier, I was like, y'all be coming into the government and just doing anything, and I hate that for y'all. And now I'm like, I love this for you guys.
Yeah.
I love for you guys that you thought you were saving money, and you exposed so many people who really couldn't afford to be exposed. So.
And look at all the government workers that were fired. Look at the chaos that is our our Health and Human Services Department with brainworm Robert Kennedy sitting up there telling us that Tylenol causes autism, and he's got all kinds of weird theories. But it's like other countries used to look toward the United States for research findings and things like that. And now, I mean, God, I can't believe how far we have fallen in a year as far as competency.
But I think it deserves to be said that all you need is one opening, right? When you're dishing and dealing in public knowledge, all you need is one lie. In this internet era, if you tell one lie, then all of the conspiracy theorists, tinfoil hat wearers, suddenly appear. And there's so many people who just make up stuff and sit in front of a computer and make up stuff, who are really famous and quite wealthy as a consequence of their indulgence. So there was some double dealing in the science world when corporate money started paying for research.
Yes.
And that was the opening that people like JFK and folks of his ilk needed in order to start making up stuff.
Right.
We don't trust you, and therefore, it's like when you tell a lie on the stand, as this is Liz's area. You tell a lie on the stand, and now your entire testimony.
Yeah. Your credibility is shaken.
Right. Once remember oatmeal lowers cholesterol, and they put a little heart healthy thing, and then the American Heart and Lung Association got involved in that. I think I still haven't cleaned my pantry, so I think I even still have old oatmeal with the little heart on it. And so people are like, oh, if I eat oatmeal, and it could be something as simple as people who eat oatmeal, healthier, non-fat breakfast, cereal maybe with some skim milk, are people who are probably up walking 2 miles in the morning or running 5 miles, and that those people probably have healthier hearts. So knowing that correlation and causation are not the same, they went ahead and made the correlation between people who eat whole grains or grains in the morning, heart health. And so really just kind of like manipulating the truth around things so that Quaker Oats can come in and sell money. Then you find out Quaker Oats did the study, of course, and then it makes sense. So it was those types of things, along with the food pyramid and the turning the other way by the FDA as people put increasing amounts of sugar.
Yes.
And sodium into foods. And then the Coca-Cola company, so Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and a couple other companies now have a class action lawsuit in the billions against them because they had the science that said these foods were addictive. And they did the same thing that the tobacco industry did. So that's going to be another news story that'll take grow wings as the year moves on. So this is going to be a very chaotic year on the political level. I don't think that the Epstein debacle is done with Trump.
No, there's more to come. So, but so far, even like even though they've now got proof that he was involved with Epstein and all the goings on, his supporters find some kind of way to excuse the behavior or to deny it even happened. It doesn't matter if it's in black and white. I don't believe it because Trump said so.
Right.
And so, that's going to be really interesting to see all the fallout for that. I mean, Prince Andrew, well, he's not Prince Andrew anymore. He's the artist formerly known as Prince.
Andy Boy.
Andy
who likes little boys.
Or little girls.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Andy who allegedly likes little boys and little girls.
Yeah. And so he's on the outs now. Clinton's like, yeah, go ahead and release all the files. I don't care. All I was doing was laying up in a swimming pool.
Yeah. So here we are, out here in the wild. Of course, you guys know what you got.
It says allegedly. You can't see it because
we need a poster. to hang. We need both. I need a stand, like a little thing I put on PVC and hang it that says allegedly. I don't want to. There's so many people doing the gossip thing. I want to stay in the kind of cheeky, but well-informed, smart humor, but politically hyper-informed lane, and not get into the gossip lane purely. I think that hearing what people are saying on the street is useful.
Yes.
And it's funny a lot of the times. And it makes you think, when you hear things that are out of the box. But I'm watching a lot of people that friends in the media make a lot of money doing gossip stuff. I mean, look at Candace.
Candace is, me agreeing with Candace on anything was not on my bingo card for this year, but she's on to something, and her viewership is growing and growing and growing, and so the more juice she gets, the louder she's going to be.
I love how they try to make it seem like she's crazy.
I know, right? It's like, wait a minute, y'all were holding her up as a paragon of MAGA, and now all of a sudden she doesn't know what she's talking about?
And you know what? I haven't seen anything that she said yet. I don't watch her. I must admit, I do not watch her regularly. But whenever I see her, she's no worse than Rachel Maddow. Rachel Maddow says things that aren't true.
Everybody does. We're human.
But not like that. Like, she will say things like, if you go to, it's like some of these, you ever have a think about this, y'all. You'll have a Facebook group in your feed, and they post stuff, and you go, oh my goodness. And then you find out it's not true. And you're like, how are these people still alive?
Right.
I feel like Rachel Maddow is in that category. Like, whoever they're oatmeal and Quaker Oats studies. Like, they say a lot of things that I watch them. I hear her say the things, and because I'm in the field, they don't pan out.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what Ray in Lakeland has to say.
Okay.
Hi, Ray.
Hi. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Hey. I just wanted to speak with you empowered women today. And I was listening. And, I think that one of the things that we can improve on is not buying into the political jargon. When I talk to people, and whether they support the Republicans or support the Democrat, one of the problems is you get into a discussion, and they always want to throw the other side under the bus. And that's not how you win an argument. You're basically just saying everything's bad. I think we need to stick to our point, and we need to stay focused on the goal, which is improvement. And ultimately, I think that everybody wants a conclusion that's good for people. And I just really hope that we can encourage each other this year. I love you. I love your show. And I hope that everything just goes as it should this year.
But don't go away, Ray. Stay right there.
I'll say this.
Let's just talk about it. So, late 30s or so, Nazi Germany.
Mm-hmm.
What do we call them? The Germans. We're going to call them Germans. We're not calling them Nazis because Nazis is weighted, right? Let's just call them Germans. So there are these German people who say they want a better Germany, a stronger Germany, a Germany that speaks to the might of its and the wealth of its forebears. And it doesn't sound bad at all. And people said, oh, they just want it to be better for everyone. But they didn't want it to be better for everyone. They only wanted it to be better for a small group of people. Now, we've seen this movie before. And so the folks who waited to leave, I hope I don't say this in December. The folks,
We'll
the
say
black,
December from South America somewhere.
Right, I would have hoped so. The Polish people and the German and the Jewish people and the sympathetic Jewish people, German people, because there were a lot of Germans who lost their lives trying to stop this thing. It was not a fun thing that happened. There were white people many white people, marched at a higher percentage that didn't represent outstripped their representation in the population with Black Lives Matters, also during the 60s. So all the people who were empathetic, all of the Polish people, the Jewish people, any black people that were in Germany, because Africans and Ottomans and Turks, they've always been there, okay, didn't get out because they thought, this doesn't sound bad. It just sounds like people that are striving for, the marks of their glorious past. But we learned about nationalism, and we learned about people who toot the horn of being better under the guise of stopping other people from being better. That better for Black people or better for the indigenous might never come under people like Charlie Kirk. And I want to tell you a little story, just a little one, and then I'll stop, okay? That yesterday, when the plane landed in Tampa, the door opened, and all I see are buttons and lights and buttons and lights. And there's a small white man wearing a suit, and I got chills when that door opened. I just put my life into this stranger's hands because I believe the U.S. government when they say this man has the proper training to fly a commercial jet. So did every single person, so I'm tearing up now, on that plane. And it never occurred to me to question his skills because I was back on terra firma. When that door opened, I said, God, thank you for keeping this man and for giving him the intellect and the skills and the desire to become a pilot so that I can travel to New York City, shop, eat, and come back in one day. Thank you. Gratitude to him, his life, what he gives every day, what his family gives every day. Every time he said, we're not on time, but I'm going to 36,000 feet. And I was like, wait, I trusted him to take that plane to 36,000 feet and go 600 miles an hour with my life. Okay. So when Charlie Kirk said that when he sees a Black pilot, we're talking about skin. This is a very superficial thing. This is just my skin, right? You can get a blood transfusion from my blood today, and it'll save your life. And he said that when he sees a pilot that is Black, he wonders if the guy, literally, if he see the pilot, either he's getting ready to take you somewhere or he already took you somewhere. If you see him, okay? Unless you're on the concourse.
Because usually you don't see him until,
He's on a plane. This man is about to take this guy's life into his hands. Because planes don't, hold on, I'm going to get there. Yeah. People don't survive when planes fall out of the sky. So the point that I'm making here is this. He was a racist. That's what racism is. He did not want better for everyone. If you're dealing with a moronic Black woman, what if you're dealing with a moronic anything? There was nothing that would make him not be a racist, misogynist person. He said, I worry what would happen to my wife if something were to happen to me because she's helpless. I can't tell. She looks like she is like the multi-level marketing scheme queen of the, okay? She's doing great. Okay, I wish that healing for all widows. So when you talk about people who say they want better for everyone, every despot, strongman, con artist, cult leader always starts off saying, we're going to enter a new place and it's going to be better for everyone. So Ray, we have seen all of the things that are being said and done before. Go after the poor. Use the problems with large budgets that occur in every large budget. The budget of the Tampa Hillsborough School Board is so big, no one understands it. You know there's fraud and waste in there. So when you have a federal budget of $1 trillion, you're going to have waste in it, right? So using that to go after Somali people in Minnesota, to go after governors that you don't like, to put people in prison, send them to Venezuela, and they come back because they haven't done anything, and then you create another straw man case against them. These people are not well. And so when we talk about them, when people say you should listen, I wouldn't have listened to Nazis. Maybe I would have, because I might have believed them when they said, we want this to be a better world. I am not listening to people who are doing exactly what Nazis did in the 40s. I'm not 6 million human lives. I'm not listening to these people. This is a thing where you guys need to go and you need to get like a grid and you need to compare it to what you're hearing and what happened in Nazi Germany, because this is a not Rodney King, can we all get along moment. It's just not. I would have agreed with you a few years ago, too, because I was one of those people saying we should go into the Rust Belt and the Bible Belt and talk to these people and see what's happening in Montana, to white people who didn't feel like they got what they got screwed. They got screwed in Montana, and they got screwed in Washington when they clear-cut the forest. That was my generation. That was Kurt Cobain. That's what he was singing about, right? You left us no future. The Gen X, the millennials will have you, the media will have you think that millennials are the first. They're not. Student loans happen on our watch. So there's so many things that I think people are leaving out of the conversation and the equation, and, repeat performances but make it historical context.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think that cancel culture started out as a good thing, but we went in every direction from the same sort of idea, and I think it's a problem with higher thinking, with higher education. Like, a lot of people don't have the thought process to really see the moving parts. But you're right. You're right. We have to pay attention to history, and we have to see the cause and effect, what the results will be, and how people will change their narrative. It's happened before. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, and we gotta remember that when the machine that you've been feeding hands only wants to eat hands, it doesn't care whose hands it's eating. So that's not original. I got that from Shahid Bolson on YouTube. But he said it in a different way, but I kind of streamlined it so I could say it quickly and apply it to many things. And so now that machine is eating hands. And white people, and specifically wealthy white people, because this doesn't really apply to the lower middle class, the middle of the middle class. It applies to upper middle class and up. And the upper middle class is sliding down out of those spaces that they're in. They're leveraged to the hilt, and they're overmortgaged. And they've got $900 car payments for God knows why. And the moment something, one light goes out on the string, and they're done. They're done. They go from a $10 million net worth because they're borrowing against their net worth and their property, and the property is losing value. The bank's coming back and saying, this is no longer adequate to as collateral for your loan. We need more money, or we're going to recall this. And they are instantly seeing massive spiraling in their net worth. They can't borrow against it anymore, and there's nowhere to go. So that's what's happening to the upper part of the middle class and the rich right now. And I don't understand. I think that sometimes you said this, because when you said cancel culture, you disproved your point. Because when you said cancel culture, it's those types of words, right, that take us back into the media speak. So when they tell you this is cancel culture wasn't created by Black people in BLM. Cancel culture was created when you were a Black person doing business and you said something that the mayor didn't like in your southern town, and they took your business and made you leave. That was the cancel culture. Or you were on plantation and you did something that your owner didn't like, and they cut off your hands because you stole a chicken because your children were crying because they were hungry. That's cancel culture. That's deletion culture. And that's what lynchings were about, the thousands of lynchings that happened in the United States. It's what the Trail of Tears were about. It's what Wounded Knee was about. Cancel culture didn't come from us. So anytime I'm tempted to take something out of context, I go and find some history. And history always disproves my emotions. So if I want to believe that cancel culture was a creation of the Atlantic and the New Yorker, a quick read of Wounded Knee, which had me depressed for months as a 20-something, on Wounded Knee will disprove that these things are just renamed and recycled and made to look like as they're a creation of people who don't want to assimilate or who don't want peace. So I can have these conversations every week. You know, I'm intellectually capable of having these higher level conversations and higher thinking, but I feel like most of the people that are listening to us are really educated people, and they don't really need me to give them a master's level lecture on history. A lot of these folks are older than me, and they got a better education than I did, because as time goes by, education is more and more diluted. So a 65-year-old that went to college in, the late 70s, that person has a better and deeper education than I do, and much more historical context for what they're seeing, unless they're a young historian. So I would say to you that when we're talking about these issues, we like to have a lighter hand, but part of what we do here is entertainment, right? There's a lot of tongue in cheek. We're a little cheeky that goes on. We're not infallible, but I would say if you're talking about, to your original point, playing nice with people who only want to eat, not just my hands, my black hands, but all of our hands eventually. Eventually, there's no more hands left. And it doesn't care whether my hands are brown, but they're not chocolate flavored. They're the same flavor as your hands.
All right. Thanks so much for calling, Ray. We appreciate you.
It's so
Ray, do you have anything you wanted to add?
It's so important what you do, because you give so many people linear thought, and that's it. That's it. I mean, it's you do it so well. Your show is so important. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
sir.
Ray.
Thank you for calling. Thank you for listening.
Okay. Bye-bye. Let's talk to John in Port Richey. Hi, John.
Hey, hi. Thanks for the show. 2 observations. One about cancel cultures. The liberals did it through like public pressure and that sort of thing. So it was kind of like your choice to change or not change, depending on what kind of public pressure was being put upon you. Where the conservatives are doing it with the full force and weight of the federal government, and also pain of breaking the law. They're doing that cancel culture using that entity. So, like, for example, DEI. If you don't change your DEI, we're going to cancel that, or we're going to cancel your funding. The second observation is Doge. Weren't they supposed to be, like, rooting out fraud, waste, fraud, and abuse?
We all knew how that was going to go from the jump, but anyway.
Well, here's my question about that. If they cut all that spending and found all that fraud, why do we have like $500 billion in deficit spending in the past couple of months? Just a couple of observations for you.
Right. Okay.
Because that was never the goal. Short answer. It was never the goal.
I understand it was never the goal, but the question is, will those people that backed it see this, and will they call it out? I doubt it. The conservatives will. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, John.
So, John, I've been listening to conservative media, and I get a thing called The Blaze. Liz, sometimes I drop them into the Surly Voices chat. And since I haven't had any gluten this week, I can actually have the brain power to tell you about it. It just has me just spending in a daze, y'all. So the right, both sides do a really good job, to Ray's point earlier, of making the other side look like they're demons, right?
Right.
And so when I read something and it says, if I read the Atlantic or the New Yorker, and it'll say, Tim Walz stands up for working Somalis. And then I'll read The Blaze, and The Blaze will say, Tim Walz has hissy fit over immigrants that steal from working Americans. And this story is literally about the same paragraph.
Right.
They're covering the same paragraph of the same tweet by Tim Walz, but what they build around it is completely different. And the truth is somewhere in the middle, okay? So let's say the truth is in the middle, and the middle is Tim Walz is considering a presidential run. And so he's maybe baiting or making deliberate swipes at the White House that he doesn't have to make. Because let me tell you something. He's got a lot of business he can be taken care of in Minnesota. I love Minnesota and I love Tim Walz. Having said that, he's not absolutely right about everything, right? He did kind of have a bit of a meltdown after they lost and came out and was very unpresidential when he started talking about how it's Kamala's, I thought it was tea, but, if I was planning on running for president and at the point in the future, I'd not have thrown Kamala Harris under the bus, no matter how much the bus and she needed each other.
Right. Oh, she needed the bus bad.
Right. And so you'll hear us say, and a lot of times people call in to chastise us on what we say about the right. What they forget is we have been equal opportunity employers.
Yes.
When it comes to trashing the Democratic Party for essentially not giving people the choice they wanted and then having all of us end up in something that we didn't want, moderates and progressives. So in an effort to wall off the progressives, they centered and forced upon us the moderate agenda, which right now is almost in step with for a few social justice and civil liberties issues, is almost in lockstep economically with the right.
What a surprise.
Right. So because what we have to remember, and when you guys bring this up, you're right. You're absolutely right. When you bring this up, what you have to remember is that most of these people are wealthy people, or soon after they arrive in Washington, become wealthy. Mm-hmm. Remember when Maxwell Frost, I love this kid. He's like my nephew, right? He sees me and I'm like, oh, he's like auntie, But when he came in, he was complaining about not being able to find housing. So was AOC. Remember when she was a young warthog?
Yes.
And she was coming into DC and she was hailed as the future. And now these people, in large part, are lockstep with the establishment. And that's what happens when you go to Washington. And so they don't become Republicans and they still beat the drum. But as much as we love Jasmine Crockett and how she handily trashes and entertains us, trashes the right, she's a moderate Democrat from Texas. Yeah. And that's how we all get swindled.
Right. We're all, excuse me. It's like, it's going back to, and we've talked about this before, the United States has some kind of desperate need for a hero at all times. So it's all about worshiping, the next quote unquote hero that comes down the pipe. And it's like, wait a minute, why don't we be our own heroes? Why do we look to AOC, who's young and has no money, but now she's got money because she's on the red carpet at the Met Gala? I mean, it's like, why do we as a country put so much stock in hero culture, hero worship? I don't understand.
I'll give you a 30-second answer on that because, Joseph Campbell and the Power of Myth and studying biological anthropology, it's that the hero's myth was about what we find in ourselves. The hero's journey is about our own journey. We're supposed to look at the hero and find ourselves as the protagonist, right? The person who is striving for something, who is seeking to overcome something, to achieve something, and to leave a legacy. That's what the hero's journey is all about, right? Odysseus and the Odyssey and all of that, which I can't wait for that movie. But
there's a few, like 20, 25 years ago, Armand Assante starred in the miniseries of The Odyssey, and it was excellent.
Yeah, so I heard that there's a remake that's coming out this summer. It's going to be like The Odyssey, and I can't wait for it. But that in America, the movie, the cinema, all right, motion picture industry gave us heroes on the silver screen instead of, I think maybe we started out encouraging people to find the hero in themselves. That's what Charlie Chaplin, like his whole hobo thing was about. And that was like a real big thing. And people dressed up, and they did the walk and stuff. And he'd go on these trains and all the people would come out and they would just like, I could be that person. I could be that guy. And that was like the celebration of John Q. Everyman and the plight that any human could find themselves in. So roll forward 100 some odd years later, what you've got is people wanting Will Smith, not being able to separate Will Smith from the guy in the black suit, from Will Smith, the guy who slapped a man in public. So we worship heroes, we worship billionaires, the world turned upside down. So I think that, yes, and so when you look at cinema, it's starting to change, but when you look at cinema in other places, it would just be like this long movie about this girl having relationships for like 3 hours. And people love it in Spain. But in the United States, they were like, where's the blood? Where's the drama? Where's the body in the trunk? You know, where's the fighting? Where's the jaw, the left hook, and the car's on fire and the guy's shooting in between the buildings? You know, where's all of that? Because we're looking for the hero external. We've externalized our hero, which is why it's so easy to raise point earlier for people to listen to the voice without instead of the voice within. Americans are like teenagers. We don't really have a strong internal voice or moral construct because we look to be told. And I think that the media is responsible for a lot of that.
The media and the churches.
Oh, the churches.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. How could I forget? Yeah.
Let me read some texts and emails here. This is a text that says feds use AI/data collections to target gun owners and others for ICE recruitment. I'm sure that they are putting every single tool to good use in that regard. Here's another one that says have an ICE day. Here's one. All right.
What about the pastor? What about that pastor that came out and gave the business to ICE? Y'all go Google that. There's a cleric. He comes out and he's wearing his garb, and he's backing these guys up.
ICE or the immigrants?
That he's backing up ICE. ICE is at his church on the doorsteps.
Oh, he's backing them up like get back.
Oh, and he's like really going in on
Yeah.
them. I didn't see. I was on the plane and my pods had died, so I didn't hear the audio, but I got chills and I cried a little bit just watching him. Then they looked like they respected him. It was really beautiful.
I think I know the clip you're talking about, and yeah, he was like railing on him. It's like, why are you out here? And no, don't you have better things to do?
And if anybody needs a PR little boon there, it's the church.
Let's see. Fred says this goes back to Mussolini. Hitler actually followed Mussolini and his playbook. Let's see. I don't have my glasses, Fred, so let's see. Drain the swamp. Trump is still using the plain playbook. Fred, Upper Michigan. Thanks, Fred, in Upper Michigan. Let's see. Here is a voicemail that says a caller to your show suggested that in 2026 we should listen to people with other opinions. But one of your hosts argued against listening and reason. Your host said that Charlie Kirk, by virtue of his skepticism over DEI hires, was a racist. She also equated DEI skeptics with being Nazis. But DEI, like any human phenomenon, can go too far, and DEI is not a sacred cow. Your host's reaction was an example of self-righteous, intolerant extremism. Mike,
they don't understand
Mike
DEI.
from Sarasota.
That was a long-winded way to say you don't understand DEI. Go on, Liz.
All right. That's from Mike in Sarasota. I don't know which Mike because there's a bunch of Mikes in Sarasota. So that is, I see Frank gearing up. He's raising his finger. He's about to do it. He's going to give me the finger any second now.
I think this was a good show. I think that people who disagree are always going to disagree. I read Blaze. I look at the New York Post. You know, I read these. I read so much of it, I start getting emails from them. So I am listening. But I know what I'm hearing, unlike some of the folks who call in. And they can call me self-righteous and sanctimonious if they like. Your hands are on the platter for 2026. Be very careful.
All right. And with that bright ending to the show, thanks so much for listening. We will be back next week. Please join us and stay surly in the meantime.
I like it like
stunning. I like shining. I like $1 million deals. Where's my pen?